Namaste everyone and welcome. So here we are with Anchor the Light, and if you can see me. All right, let me see if this works. Okay, so today the lesson was quite powerful. The feedback I got from you was that learning to let matters pass is very important. So I hope that you, if you haven't, go back and study it. It's one of the biggest lessons I think in life, is the ability to not let little things drive us crazy and basically ruin our day. So to continue that, I love this Japanese proverb that says, the bamboo, let me just put it in there, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. Okay? The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. Japanese proverb. I was meditating on this. I go, hey, it's interesting. You know, some people, this is the way it has to be done. So when they're very, very rigid, you might think they're very strong. I'm standing my ground. But in reality, most of the time in life, you do not get to control what's happening outside of you. And so without the ability to be flexible and adaptable, the person suffers. And I saw that especially in economy. You know, many years ago, I remember in the Philippines, where I come from, the economy was going up and down, okay? Going up and down. And people who could not adapt to it, they went out of business. So I know this business, this particular business, the factory makes, what do you call this thing? Albums, photo albums. You know what photo albums are? We used to take pictures, have it printed, and then I'd have it developed, and then you put in these albums that you look. Okay, now we have photo albums online, but before it was physical. So this company, that's what they did. And well, guess what happened? Digital revolution happened. Even Kodak messed up really bad. Remember, they were sticking to film, and then digital happened. People were clicking with their digital phones, digital cameras with their phones. And most people say, why should I have a pile of paper when I can have it online? So that company that made those photo albums, business went like this. Okay? And the interesting part is, I was looking at this, I know these people, they're amazing businessmen, businesswomen, the family. And within 1 year, they turned that factory into, I think it was 1 year, 1.5 years the most, into a badminton court. Badminton. Why? Because a lot of people in that area, the rich people, they got money to spend. They want to have some connection with people and with sports. So guess what happened? It was a hit. That badminton court, which before was a factory to make photo albums, was doing great. And I was thinking, I asked them, what do you know about badminton? No clue. But who cares? See what I mean? They didn't say, we only know how to make photo albums. We have to stick to it. We have to show that we can weather any kind of crisis. That's dumb. If you notice that things are not going your way, change your approach. The key is to make money and be successful. So from making a factory that makes photo albums all the way to badminton court. Flexibility is the key. And of course, I've shared with you many, many times already what happened to Tony Robbins. When the pandemic started, all the physical events closed down because not only is there proximity, they do high five, they do hugs. Yeah, right. Could you imagine? Everything shut down. So if he was rigid, no, this is the way we do it, this is the business plan for the last 50 years, or whatever, he's going to be in big trouble. What does he do? Like the bamboo, bend, and then what? Let's do it online. But of course, Tony being Tony, he doesn't do it, just like everybody does. Get on Zoom. He has to make it huge. And most of you know, Zoom can only do 1,000 connections at that time. Went talk to the owner, make it 22,000. Go big or go home, right? And that's exactly what he did. So the first event was huge. And he kept going. And to this day, He can do physical events as well as online events, and both are super powerful and successful. The ability to bend, the ability to be flexible is stronger than somebody who's rigid. I'm going to do it my way. Please remember, you cannot always control what happens outside. You can control what happens inside. You can sit there and complain, well, why is the economy changing? Why are people not being more receptive to what I'm saying? You can sit there and complain about it, and all you get is misery. Or you can say, let me look at this. Seems like conditions are changing. How do I adapt? In fact, in Feng Shui, in Panic Feng Shui, there's a certain direction where it's success through adaptability. In other words, you're very successful, and then you adapt. You're successful, you adapt, because things change. And for a lot of us, what happens? Well, this is the way I've been doing it for so long. We can get fixated, and what happens? We get stuck. Now, this is especially true for spiritual teachings. Now, hear me out. I remember many years ago, I was having this conversation with my teacher, and it was about some yogic text. And I said, Master, but they've been doing this for centuries. This has been given to us, 300, 400, 500, maybe a couple thousand years ago. This teaching's been around. You know what it tells me? You're right. Time for update. And I heard that, I go, he's right. Time for update. And again, let me share it with you if you've haven't been with us for a long time. If you read the teachings of the great teachers exactly the way it's written, guaranteed you get confused or cause problems. The question is why? Think about it this way. 2,500 years ago, when the Lord Buddha walked the earth, how educated were the people? When the Lord Jesus walked the earth, 2,000 years ago, how educated were the people? You'd be lucky if they can multiply, right? So, in order for the teacher to teach these people, they have to super dumb it down. I mean, I've shared this with you before to just give you a comparison. Probably the chakras of the Buddha, one of them could probably be as big as California. That's one chakra. When you see drawings of chakras in the book, there's like 3 to 4 inches. Now imagine someone with a chakra a size of a state in the United States. That's one chakra. You talk about somebody that advanced with that much processing power. That'd be like a mosquito trying to talk to the latest and the greatest computer, the fastest computer. So could you imagine these great teachers with the awareness that is so amazing, talking to somebody who doesn't even know, what? What is the spiritual realm? So the teacher has to super dumb it down. So when things were written, it was written in such a way that people can understand. Of course, the teacher with their foresight will see, thousands of years from now, it has to be done that those people can also understand. So it's up to us to look at the teachings and say, it was interpreted a certain way at that time. Let's be flexible and interpret according to our present society. Otherwise, what happens? You take the words of these holy books literally, it'd be like saying, what was that one in the Bible? If your eye be single, your body will be filled with light. Great, if you take it seriously, and literally, you have to pluck one of your eye out to be spiritual. You go, that's ridiculous. You don't do that. You interpret it exactly my point. The key is to adapt. Make sense? With your relationships. That's another one. Well, when we're dating, he or she acted this way. Now that we're together, that person changed. Okay, well, what do? You change. You adapt. Same thing with the other person. The key is to be able to adapt. Otherwise, you go, this is the way I am. I'm a hard ass, whatever. Oh, well, good luck. Basically, you're waiting to suffer. Make sense? Same thing with your body. Your body has a certain age, certain capabilities. It needs certain nutrients. After so many years, your body is different. It needs different nutrients. It needs different types of exercises. Maybe stuff you cannot do before. Well, you could do before, you cannot do now, but vice versa. What do? You adapt. Same thing with education. When you study, you have the ability to change your perceptions. Otherwise, what happens? You get calcified. The latest one that's been driving so many people crazy. You know, a lot of scientists used to swear by the Big Bang Theory, not the TV show. I know it's a great show, it's funny and everything. But, you know, it's supposedly 14 billion years ago, according to standard model, I think that's the word they use, the universe started with boom, Big Bang. And then you have different telescopes that go up, and then you have James Webb telescope goes up and just screws up everybody's theory. Right? The latest one, the one that went up, 2 years ago? Then they realized, wait, there are galaxies that are around that were probably born before the 14 billion years that we claim to be truth. Hey man, that they're messing up with our with our concept of the Big Bang. Yeah, and guess what? They're gonna keep messing with it. A few years from now, I don't know, 100, 200 years ago, 200 years ago, technology improves, they might even figure out, wait, even that was wrong. So if you're fixated with where you are, with what you have, guaranteed suffering. The key is to realize everything is subject to change. Right? You remember the Four Noble Truths. There is suffering in life. What are the causes of suffering? Suffering can end, and how to end it. So, what are the causes of suffering? One of them is unregulated, unwholesome, excessive desires. Okay, that's one other topic. We'll talk about that. But remember, we talked about this. According to the Buddha, one of the major causes of suffering is the unrealistic expectation that things will not change. So if you expect everything to be the same and you cannot adapt to it, guaranteed suffering. Now, how long you suffer is dependent on how you deal with it. Your response to it will determine is if the suffering goes on for years, or you can say, well, you know, this is the company policy before. It's a different policy. When I entered the company, it's a certain policy. Now they changed it. Well, I have two choices. I can adapt or I quit. If I don't adapt and I don't quit, guaranteed suffering. If I quit, okay, that means it's not for me. Instead of sitting, oh, I can't believe it, the company changed, why did they have to? Okay, you go in that circle for a while, what happens? You end up with the same end result. Either I live with it, change my adapt my perception of it, so I don't suffer, or I quit and do something else. It's the same conclusion. It's just a matter of how long you get there. Things are happening you don't like, you can sit there and complain, talk to every person and complain, go suffer a little more, find somebody who will sit there with you and then cry and whine with you, and both of you suffering for a while. Or you can say, okay, this is not acceptable. So what do? Either I change my perception, or I do something else. Move on. So it goes back to the lesson earlier. Your ability to end suffering is dependent on your ability to move on. You cannot move on, you're fixated, you're stuck. Go suffer. Period. I know, somebody saying, that is so harsh of you, what do you mean go suffer? That's the same end result, no matter how much I sugarcoat it, that's the end result, so why waste your time on it? You can't deal with it, you don't adapt, you suffer, period. You don't like it, do something else. Right? That's why I love it when I read that proverb, Japanese proverb, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resist. It's just deep, man. I was thinking about, man, that goes on so many levels. I mean, even technology. When the internet happened, or when it became more prevalent, a lot of people were not into, no, I don't trust it. Okay, well, you suffer. You do it the old-fashioned way. Like, I'm going to go out and teach because, I physically have to be in front of people. Well, that's good. But what happens? With technology, internet got faster. There's video, there's audio. We can reach more people. I remember the first time we were still doing phone conferences. Remember? You call someone, okay, and then you do conference call with how many people? That's how we used to do group meditation to get more people. And more people meditate, it became more and more great. And then video started getting faster. Now, I didn't sit there, well, we've been doing this by phone, it works. I don't want to do this video thing. If I did that, what happens? I would have been left behind. And we say, oh, okay, that's good. Hey, wait a minute. There are better cameras that came about, better lighting, better sound. Okay, time to upgrade. Or I could have said, no, this is the way I've been doing it for the last 20 years. I have to do it this way because it's tradition. Screw tradition. There are certain things you keep, certain principles. But if you want to succeed, you have to adapt. Make sense? So that's the way I was taught by my teacher. Be like water. There's an obstacle in front of you. Go beside, go above, go below. Can't get around it, blast through it. But some people, this is what they do. There's an obstacle, they stand in front of it. Okay. You be there for a while. Right? You just sit there, stand there. Oh, there's a rock in front of me. 20 years go by, there's a rock in front of me. Okay. You can sit there for another 1,000 years, that rock ain't going away. Or you can say, okay. This is not acceptable. So I will adapt. I will change my approach. That's that. That's the ability to bend to circumstances. Now, unfortunately, when a person misunderstands, you go, well, that means I have to bend to everybody else. How about me standing my ground? Look, use a little common sense here. There are certain things you do not compromise. You don't negotiate. Right? Your integrity. Your honesty. Those things you say, this is the way it is, period. But the approach, you can change. The way you deal with people, the way you deal with life, you adapt. So be like bamboo, be like water, bend, adapt, so you can be happy. You know, the thing with the bamboo, it's interesting, huh? It bends, comes back stronger. Right? Think about it. You bend, it whips back. It just reminds me of what my teacher said many years ago. He said, when you're beaten down to the ground, the Chinese have a saying, when you have a rubber ball, the harder it hits the ground, the higher it bounces up. The more you bend a bamboo, the stronger it snaps back. Isn't it? Amazing, isn't it? Think about it. So you go, yeah, I want to be like bamboo. Exactly. So the key here is to just realize I'm the soul. We're back to the same thing. Some people got nothing else to do. Whatever. Anyway. Somebody just decides to, anyway, whatever. So guys, you can hear me. Whatever. Enjoy yourself. Okay, so what was I saying? I forgot. Anyway, the key is to realize you are the soul, and Whatever is happening outside is happening outside. You have complete control on how you respond to it. That's the same lesson as the earlier one. You have the ability to decide, am I going to let that piss me off? I'm going to say, whatever. What's more important is the teaching. Make sense? So, with that in mind, before we meditate, I let this guy just do whatever he's doing. And I want you to just assess for a few seconds. Think about it. What areas in our life have we been so rigid that it's making us suffer? Right? What parts of your life have we been so rigid? This is the way it's going to be done. I don't care what. And then you look back, 5-10 years ago, that was a mistake. Any of those? If you come up with something, let's say with your relationship, with your finances, with your health, then better change it. Otherwise, it's not going to change itself. Make sense? It's the gardener. They're like doing this at now there's two of them. They think they have a concert. Anyway, whatever. So I want you to close your eyes and just do a quick inventory. When it comes to your health, are there things that you're holding on to that you would not change, knowing fully well it's detrimental for your health? Let's start with your diet. Think about your diet. Are there certain things you've been doing and you go, yeah, but it's such a habit already? Like drinking. Well, I go with my buddies drinking every whatever. Or you smoke, or whatever it is. I've been doing it for so long, I can't change. Then you're right. You just made a decision not to change. You're being rigid. Your relationships. Is there something you can do to adapt to your partner? To make it better? Not to compromise, but to adapt. How about your spiritual practice? Are there certain meditations you want to change up? Because, for example, certain meditations are so good at increasing your willpower. Some meditations are so good at activating your heart. Is there something you need to do to change it, to adapt a little bit? How about your languaging, your education? The key is to look, observe. Are there things in my life that could be better? Because you say, well, I can adapt to anything, but the fact that you don't look, you're already fixated in the past. That's why, me personally, I always look for something new. Maybe because I get bored easily. Yeah, that's why I love it. New gadget comes around, ooh, new gadget. Because for me, it's like, oh, what can this thing do? It just stimulates my mental faculty. Oh, instead of this, I can do this. That's why I love gadgets. And people ask me, what do you do in your spare time? Assuming I have some. I watch YouTube. I study quantum mechanics. I study astrophysics. You go, what's that got to do with spirituality? A whole lot, believe it or not. Things that I thought were true start to change. Anyway, all right? So, again, the key is learn to adapt like bamboo. And when things are not going your way, you bend, and like a bamboo, snap back faster. That's it. Very simple. Now, I would guide you in meditation now, but these guys are having way too much fun with their machines, so it's going to be hard for me to do your meditation with you. So let's just end it here, because for me to keep going, the noise might deter you from hearing me. because I can barely hear myself. Okay, and I don't want to yell because it might be too loud. So here's what we'll do. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll end here, and then I'll find another day before Monday that we can meditate again. All right? So anyway, let's give thanks to the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, to all the spiritual elders, holy masters, to all the saints of all traditions, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers. To my teacher, Master Tuakok Sui Mahaguji Mailing, we thank you for your great blessings. In full faith, so be it. Bye. Have a fantastic weekend. All right. Bye-bye. We're adapting.